I'm Shane and welcome back to Relative Time. Now today I want to talk to you about something I recently learned regarding Miyota movements, as well as announce a new giveaway, so make sure you stay till the end to learn about the giveaway, as I do need some help in figuring out exactly how I'm going to do it. About a month and a half ago, AliExpress had a big sale, and I told myself I wouldn't buy any because I already had enough watches to review right now. Yet I ran across 3 ones that I thought could be interesting, and I wound up buying all 3 of them. Remember, no willpower here. When I got back from my recent trip, I found out that they were all waiting for me, and I started to take a closer look. And I think each of them is interesting in their own way, yet the most interesting is easily this Parnas Nautilus homage. And it's not just because of its cool looking dial, or that it actually comes with 2 decent leather straps, or this silicone bumper thing that was on it to protect it, which I've never seen before. What's interesting about it is its movement, as it's supposed to be a Miyota 821A, which is really the same thing as an 8215, just decorated a little more, and you can usually tell the difference because the 821A has a skeletonized rotor. Yet this particular Miyota movement seems to hack, and 8 series Miyota movements do not hack. That's one of the reasons a lot of people prefer Seiko movements to Miyota in this price range. I had a couple of ideas of what could be going on here, and I even thought about whether or not someone would actually go to the trouble of taking an unbranded Chinese movement and putting a Miyota rotor on. But rather than speculate too much, I decided to go get some real answers, and I went to the best place that I knew for that, which is witkuST. In the affordable watches subform of witkuST, there's a best of AliExpress thread. So I posted some pictures and just asked, hey, does anyone have any idea what's going on here? And sure enough, someone did, and they pointed me to another thread. And this particular one was on a Corget Aquaterra homage that also has a Miyota 821A movement, and some of the people who've received those also reported that it was hacking. Now, one of those members did the smart thing and emailed Miyota asking if they knew what was going on, and sure enough they replied. So long story short, Miyota has quietly started upgrading their 8 series movements to have hacking, which I think is a big deal, and I decided to make this video because I haven't really heard anyone else talk about it. And I think it's a big deal, not just for AliExpress watches, but for affordable watches in general, as I think it starts to really level the playing field between Seiko and Miyota. Seiko still has a few advantages, like a bidirectional rotor, and they won't necessarily suffer the occasional stuttering second hand, so I think they will still be the preferred movement. But the overall end user experience between the two should be about the same. Now, I wanted some more information, so I decided to email Miyota myself, and I specifically wanted to know what models were affected, and were they retaining the same model numbers or were they given new model numbers. Plus, I really wanted to know if there was any visual difference between the old and the new, so that you could tell the difference when looking at pictures. So just to avoid any sort of misrepresentation, let me read you exactly what they told me. Regarding hack second functions, we upgraded all calibers of 8 series, except 8215, 8205, and 8N24. Model number is as same as previous one, and they are visually same as previous ones. So bad news, there is no visual difference between the older ones and the newer hacking ones. And also bad, and interestingly bad, the 8215 is not being upgraded, as that's the most popular and most common 8 series movement you find. But the good news is that confirms the 821A has been upgraded, and the 821A is basically an 8215, plus you can visually tell the difference because of that skeletonized rotor. So if you see a watch with an 821A, there's now a chance you can get one with hacking. Right now in the market, there's a mixture of old movements and new movements. So if you look to get a watch with one of those in there, it's gonna be hit or miss on whether or not you get one with hacking. And as time goes on and those old movements start to disappear, I hope that chance increases. Just to show you an example of this, let me show you a 4th watch I recently got, as it also has an 821A, but it doesn't hack. And that's this Corget Railmaster homage. Again, didn't need another watch, but in this case I actually had some eBay bucks that were about to expire. And I have to say, with this particular one, has probably the best looking dial I have seen in one of these watches. But back to the movement. Now, this is relatively new information, so if you're looking to contact a seller to make sure you're getting one that has hacking, don't be surprised if they have no idea what you're talking about, especially if you're talking to an AliExpress seller. Hopefully microbrands will catch on to this a little sooner. On to the giveaway, and this one's going to be a little different from my other giveaways. But the prize is going to be one of these 4 watches that I've just shown you. But before I get into the details of the contest, let me quickly go over those 4 watches. We've already talked about the harness, but let me throw up some brief specs. And I'll say that it really is a beautiful dial and just has a really good solid weight to it. In fact, it's a rather surprising solid weight. Next is this Reef Tiger. It is a beautiful deep blue dial with a 24-hour sub-dial. The strap is okay, but it does have a deployment clasp, and the fluted bezel here does give it a bit of a Datejust feel. The third is this Carnival. In the past, I've seen Carnival watches with tritium, and this is one of the first ones I've seen without. So it's nice to see that they've been expanding their collection. These are interesting because of their dial. While the black is more subtle than the other versions, they all have this quadrant dial, where half of the dial has a circular brushing, and the other half goes directly out from the center like a sunburst effect, and it winds up creating 4 different quadrants. And the fourth is that Corrugate Railmaster. The case is a bit simple, but that dial is just outstanding, and I really like the yellow indices, giving it a little bit of a vintage look. I believe there's also a bracelet version, as well as a blue jean blue dial version. So which one of these am I going to give away? Well, that's where you come in. As I mentioned before, I do have a little bit of a backlog, so I'd like some help prioritizing these. So to enter the contest, all you have to do is leave a comment down below and vote for the one that you find the most interesting, the one that you would like to see reviewed first. The one with the most votes will get reviewed first, and then given away at the end of that review to the winner chosen from here, while the rest will get reviewed in the coming months. As before, the contest is open worldwide. As long as you have a shipping address, I'll send it to you. And I'll let this go to June 1st, and I should have the review out probably within a week after that. I'll pin a comment down below with the rules in more detail, but that's pretty much it. Now, in the meantime, if you are interested in one of these watches and you can't wait months to get a review, feel free to ask any questions in the comment down below as well. I haven't spent a lot of time with them, but I can give you just an initial assessment. Or feel free just to email me. I'm pretty much happy to help. Well, that's pretty much it. So thanks for joining me, and good luck.